Call the hearing back in the order. We're now ready to begin our second hearing of the day. It says in my paper the morning, but you know how things go around here. Where we will hear from the Government Publishing Office about their budget request. As you all know, GPO is now distributing more and more information by digital means, such as through its upgraded and steadily growing website now called GovInfo. GPO's fundamental function is making information about the operations of government, particularly the Congress, readily available to the public. That's a crucial function in a democracy. GPO's appropriations request for 2021 is $117 million, the same as its appropriation for 2019 and 2020, and substantially less than it received 10 years ago. This is a case where technological advances have produced real cost savings, as typesetting and printing processes have become more efficient, and the rise of electronic documents has greatly reduced the volume of printed material produced. Here to tell us about GPO's budget request and its work is Hugh Halpern. Director Halpern was confirmed on December 4th, 2019, and is the 28th person to lead GPO since its founding in 1861. While Director Halpern may be new to GPO, he spent 30 years working on the Hill in various leadership positions, so we don't have to take it easy on him. Before we hear from Director Halpern, I'll yield to our ranking member, Ms. Herrera-Butler, for any opening statement she'd like to make.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I, too, would echo the welcome to your first hearing with the Legislative Branch Subcommittee. As was mentioned, you bring over 30 years of various leadership experience from working here on Capitol Hill. And we're excited to work with you in your new capacity as Director of GPO, so congratulations. GPO produces, procures, catalogs, and preserves the official information products for federal government. What comes to my mind is the Medicare and You handbook. And being from a state where we do produce timber and timber products, wood and forest products, and paper mills, pulp and paper mills, is important to me that you continue to produce the Medicare and You. Digital technologies and products have increased productivity, reduced costs, and facilitated expanded public access. Although I would add that it is important when we're discussing the build out of broadband and access to these services. You know, a lot of older Americans don't have that same computer technological desire. A lot of them have it, some do, some don't, but it's different throughout our country. So this is such a, I think what you do is such a vital service for the people we all serve. So on top of all this, you provide permanent public access to the federal government information at no charge to the public through your Federal Depository Library Program, which partners with libraries nationwide. You're a small agency that has an important role in serving the American people. So I look forward to hearing your testimony.
Thank you for being here. You've been a great public servant in so many different ways. So
Thank you.
We're excited that you're here and look forward to your testimony.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Ryan, Ranking Member Herrera-Butler, Mr. Ruppersberger. I'm pleased to appear before you today to talk about our budget request for the United States Government Publishing Office. On behalf of the more than 1,600 craftspeople and professionals who make up our GPO team, I'm pleased to appear before this subcommittee for my first time as GPO director. I've lurked around these offices a lot in my other roles, but this is different being on this side of the table. GPO opened its doors 159 years ago last week when it began meeting in Congress's needs for printed documents. Today, GPO operates as a business, supplying all three branches of government with digital and print products. In fact, during fiscal year 2019, nearly 88% of GPO's total revenue, that's $823 million, came directly from customer payments rather than any direct appropriation. We also billed another $74 million to the Congressional Publishing Account for services ordered by Congress. And of the remaining parts of our revenue, $28 million came from appropriated funds used to support our public information programs and administer the Federal Depository Library Program. Another $12.3 million in prior year appropriations enabled GPO to make some really significant investments in our IT infrastructure and systems. We've been enormously successful in delivering value to our customers, and I'm pleased to report that again this year, for the 23rd consecutive time, GPO's independent outside auditor has provided GPO with a clean opinion on our financial statement. For fiscal year 2021, we are again requesting the same level of overall appropriations, $117 million. This is the 6th fiscal year in a row where GPO has requested essentially even funding. In real terms, since 1995, GPO's annual appropriation has gone down nearly 35%. We're able to achieve that through changes in our business model and strategic decisions that keep overhead costs low. This year's request includes $78 million for congressional publishing, which is a slight decrease from last year, based on our historical expectation of Congress's needs and available unexpended balances. For public information programs, we're requesting $32.3 million, and that's approximately $1 million increase from the prior year, attributable to salary and other cost increases. We're also requesting $6.7 million from GPO's revolving fund for investments in information technology upgrades. Lastly, as required by the Legislative Branch Inspectors General Independence Act, we are forwarding our IG's request for $6.1 million in budget authority for fiscal year 2021. That request would be part of GPO's agency overhead. It's a component of the prices we charge our agency customers and Congress, and it's not intended as a direct appropriation. Before I wrap up, I want to talk a little bit about GPO's future. GPO has embarked on a number of important initiatives to modernize its plant and its operations. We've invested heavily in new digital inkjet press technology and development of XPub, our next generation composition tool. We're also working with the State Department to modernize our tooling and our process for the next generation passport. While our stewardship of taxpayer funds and the assistance of this subcommittee has enabled us to absorb many of the costs associated with those upgrades, I'm afraid that our ability to do that in the future is going to be very tightly constrained. We will continue to look for new sources of revenue and ways to improve our efficiency and lower costs, but those efforts alone will not be enough. We have expended most of the available prior year funds for ongoing upgrades and will likely need to seek additional funding from the Appropriations Committee in future fiscal years to maintain our current level of effort. This will also provide some opportunities for GPO. For instance, as we develop XPub, we're looking for a sustainable model to make sure that that tool remains current for all of our customers, and so we can support the operation and development of the platform, including the possibility of providing it to our customers as a software as a service, much like Office 365 or Adobe's Creative Cloud. That could lead to new markets as we work with other federal customers to help them deal with their document challenges. Thank you for your past support of GPO. You have my assurance that we will work closely with you all to find the right balance for our long-term sustainability. Thank you again, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Came in right on time, too. That's good. We have done this before in some capacity. Mr. Ruppersberger, any questions?
Just, briefly, first thing, the fact that you got that audit is very good. You have it seems to be a very well-managed, efficient department, and you're looking for ways to save money and make money, which is rare in some of our government agencies. As you know, I'm sure, in the new age, you have to keep focusing on the digital, and you're doing that with XPA. That's your plan. Tell me a little bit about that XPA. Do you have the people in-house who can help you there? And also, how about the issue of cybersecurity? Because you do a lot of printing. I mean, I'm sure the Chinese, the Russians, the Iranians, and all are going to try to penetrate. To give you an example, the Commerce Department estimated in 2018 that China has stolen over $400 billion from U.S. companies, academia, government, all of that. So.
Sure. Let me take the first part first. So XPub is our next generation composition tool, and it's designed to replace an older product called Microcom. So GPO in the early 1980s was at the leading edge of technology, putting in digital typesetting. The problem is the product we developed for digital typesetting in 1982 is still in use today. And it is a key component of some of our House and Senate partners' workflows. For instance, Legislative Counsel, both on the House and the Senate, your colleagues right across the hall here in the clerk's office, they all still use that tool. Problem is, it hasn't kept up with the way other technology is kept up. So a few years ago, GPO began development of a tool to replace that. That is what XPub has sort of morphed into. That's going to give us a real opportunity as we move forward to change the way we work and give our customers, including Congress, more options and more flexibility as they produce their documents. So the current tool is designed for typesetting. It's designed for print output. XPub is designed to produce content in whatever form we want. We can take, for instance, this committee's report on the Ledge Branch bill, and as far as XPub is concerned, it doesn't care whether we're posting that to the web, we're displaying it on your phone, or we're actually creating the printed committee print. This tool will increase our flexibility a lot. And as I testified last week at the Committee on House Administration, it will also give Congress the opportunity to say, maybe we can take another look at how our documents look, since they've remained pretty static since 1861 when we started printing these things, and maybe come up with some formats and arrangements that are worthy of the 21st century. So with that, let me shift over to cybersecurity. I got a very rude awakening in my very first weeks on the job when some hackers sympathetic with the Iranians decided to deface our Federal Depository Library Program site. The good news is that our mission-critical sites are very, very well secured. We haven't had any problems, but we're continuing investments.
Who's working with you to secure those?
We're doing a lot of that in-house. We're also working with Homeland Security and outside contractors to make sure that we have the latest tools to, for instance, to secure our GovInfo online repository, which is really one of our mission-critical systems. We're working with a whole host of folks, and the Joint Committee on Printing just authorized us to spend another $500,000 for security upgrades for that system.
Pretty well spent, okay.
And you can ask for more money next year, you think, for that?
That'll probably be among the things we would request. The request next year, keep in mind, between our public information programs and our congressional printing accounts, that's about $10 million a year that we spend out of transfer and unexpended balances that you all allow us to dip back into. And it's been very, very helpful in keeping those costs down. And we invest a lot of that, for instance, in the development of XPub. As we go into next year, we've spent down most of those unexpended balances. So at this point, it's really having our appropriation catch up with our ongoing spending. We're looking for new avenues for revenue. So to the extent that we can keep costs down, we're going to do that. To the extent we can generate more revenue, we can do that. But our honest assessment is to keep going at the rate we're going, we're going to need a slightly higher appropriation.
Mr. Butler?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One of the things I would say about GPO, I think we understand inside the Beltway, it is, well, some of us do understand the importance, but I feel like it hasn't clearly defined its strategy to stay relevant and meet the needs of customers in a digital world. I wanted to hear your initial observations about that.
Absolutely, and as we were talking a little bit before the hearing, I'm the first director who's been a customer. And I can tell you I've been really excited when GPO and the men and women there have repeatedly sort of pulled the rabbit out of the hat and met Congress's sometimes unreasonable requests and demands. But I've also been I've been disappointed when they've been less than willing to change. GPO can deliver things to Congress that no commercial printer can. So, you know, everybody is trying to prepare for coronavirus and all of those things. And the one thing I told the House Administration Committee, I'll let you guys know, GPO will be here to service Congress's needs, regardless of what is happening around us. Not a traditional commercial printing firm wouldn't be able to deliver that level of service to Congress. But we need to be in a position where we can deliver those services faster and easier than we have in the past. So what I found as a customer, it was really hard dealing with GPO. Mm-hmm. You had basically two choices when you were preparing a document. You either learned GPO's typesetting language and you did it all yourself and sent it to them, or you just sort of bundled up all of this paper and kind of hoped for the best. And those are not good options. So how I see GPO's future is we need to meet our customers where they are. So the average committee staffer, the average staffer in any of these offices, you're working in Word. And we need to produce products where you can write your committee report or whatever document you're doing in Word. We can ingest that easily into our systems and then turn that around and then make it display just as well on your iPad, just as well on your phone, or just as well in print. And it doesn't matter what media you want, we can produce that output. Our current systems can't do that, but XPub can. And to give you an idea, the first product we produced with XPub is the printed US code, which is printed, I believe, every 5 or 6 years. We were able to produce that document 7 months faster than we were able to the last cycle using XPub. And it's a shorter document, and we were able to do all sorts of things to make that work. And we hope to be rolling this product out for bills, resolutions, and amendments this year, and then other products down the line.
Great. I wanted to ask about the clerk space. Now, the National Archives have been working with GPO for several years now to outfit space within GPO to store House documents. What's the status of the space, and when will the clerk of the House be able to start moving materials in?
So the good news is, I believe NARA took possession of the space last week or the week before.
Great.
Right? Yeah, end of February. So, so I believe that they're starting to move stuff into the phase 1 space now. We're starting our conversation with NARA and with the clerk and the secretary on phase 2. So it's a good use of some of our space that we don't necessarily need anymore. It's a good building with good bones, and we're looking forward to working cooperatively with the archives to, you know, make them a very happy tenant.
I appreciate it. All right, go back.
Yeah, I love the idea that you were a customer. I mean, just think that gives you a tremendous perspective on, you know, and also having a big vision, but I think that's terrific. I only have, I know I have one quick question. I may have another one regarding the census.
Yes.
So GPO played a big role in the census forms, and there was some trouble in 2018 with the initial printing contract.
It was a little bit of a rougher rollout than I think anybody would have liked.
Yeah. So how's that coming? And
the good news is that
red flags we should be worried about.
No, the good news is that the new contractor that's on that contract is performing very, very well. As a matter of fact, the initial census mailings should go out to people's mailboxes this week. R.R. Donnelly, which I believe is the main contractor on that, has been performing just fine. The Department of Commerce and Census is happy with the results. My team that manages that contract have been very happy with the results. So, like I said, it was a little bit of a rocky start, but I think we've gotten to the point where that contract's humming along. A lot of the public information materials have actually started going out through the Federal Depository Library Program and our partner libraries. So, so far, everything has been sort of going without a hitch.
Okay, great. I know you mentioned the corona and continuing to provide service. Do you have contingency plans, I guess,
We do.
in place? Can you share those with the committee?
Absolutely. I believe we've shared our initial plan with the committee staff last week or the beginning of this week. We are working to that plan. So as things ratchet up, we are shifting our posture. At some point, we will, should the need arise, we'll have large numbers of our folks telecommuting. But at some point, we're a physical operation.
Right.
And so we'll have to bring some number of employees into the plant to produce Congress's work or other critical work we've got for other federal customers. That said, we're used to working in an environment where things might be a little bit difficult, whether it's bad weather or 9/11 or whatever the situation. The men and women who work on our plant actually take great pride in being able to service Congress, so we will be able to do that. One good thing is we just last week printed the first edition of the Congressional Record on our new digital inkjet presses. So one of the things that digital inkjet technology gives us the ability to do is ratchet up or ratchet down the number of copies, the physical copies that we print. And it requires a smaller group of folks to make that happen. So unlike the running on an offset press where you've got tremendous cost in all of the pre-press work that you do, and we like to joke the first copy of the Congressional Record costs thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and the second copy costs pennies. With digital technology, it functions much closer to like your big office copier, where we can just send a document to that and it'll print 5 of them or it'll print 5,000 of them, and we really don't care how many. So that's another technology that we can really use to increase our flexibility so that we can meet Congress's needs in situations where things are pretty normal or in more difficult situations as well.
Great. Well, we appreciate you, Ms. Sarah Butler. Do you have anything for the good of the order? Good? Can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
Best of luck. Keep us in the loop, and we're here to help you the best we can. All right. Thanks, you. Take care.